Alright, so on the side. Okay, so real estate markets around the country are rebounding, but especially in South Florida. Why does South Florida always stand out, both in the boom and a condo bust?
Yeah, I think it's really the nature of the market. When times are good, people have a lot of additional disposable income, and that money tends to go to markets that really are attractive from a vacation, tourist standpoint, second, third home. So you'll see a lot of people from the Northeast. They have additional disposable income and they're making decent money. They're starting to look at, okay, where's that place where I can retire to? Where's that vacation home? South Florida typically has been one of the top destinations due to the climate, the weather, the culture down here. It's a real getaway location for a lot of individuals in the Northeast. Also, for international buyers, whether they're South American or European, etc. Miami has really become one of those destination cities. It's a top tier city when you think of where people want to be, whether it's New York, Paris, London. You have that second, third home. Miami's now up on that list. Also, from an investment standpoint, you have a lot of South Americans that really, when they have additional money, they want to kind of divert those funds over to the U.S. Miami's kind of that gateway city with South America. It's a place where they're comfortable. They typically have family and friends in the area. What we've always heard is, purchasing a unit in Miami is almost like purchasing a savings bond for someone in Latin and South America.
Okay.
And so why is it a bust? I guess leading into that, as quickly as that money comes in, it's just as fast as it can kind of dissipate. Just think about your own home when times are tough and you're struggling financially, you have to defend your home first. If there's that second mortgage payment or the association dues and that are due in a location in Miami or a unit in Miami, you're going to pay that after you're able to pay for your home in New York or in Sao Paulo or wherever it may be. So that's why you typically see the market fall.
And because there's so much attention during that boom, of course, once it goes belly up, when it goes bust, it's going to draw the same sort of attention.
Yeah, it's a cycle. It's a very cyclical marketplace.
Okay. Do you think the current condo boom is going to be as strong as it was prior to the bust in 2006?
I think it's a different type of boom. People always say history never repeats itself, but it definitely rhymes. I think we're on a real upswing here. That said, I think it's a more conservative kind of increase in the marketplace. It's not based on speculation. The whole deposit and buying structure is completely different. It's not 20% down and you're able to really leverage yourself, especially with a lot of end user and predatory loans. Those don't exist anymore. So you're typically not seeing nothing against postal workers, but the mailman's not coming in to the marketplace and putting deposits down in 2-3 units. I mean, quite frankly, they just could never afford it. You're not seeing that today because the deposit structure is a lot higher, where it's 40, 60, 80% deposits are required from buyers. And at the same time, they're predominantly cash buyers just because of the constraint you're seeing in the financing market. So it's more end user based. So the trajectory that the market's kind of increasing in is not as steep, and it seems as though it's a lot more sustainable.
Sounds good. Okay, so similar question we asked before. What advice would you give someone who's looking to buy?
I think it's very important. Number one is to know who you're buying from. A developer's reputation is probably the number one item that you need to research and be comfortable with. Just look on their past performance. Make sure it's not someone who this is the first time that they've done a project. You don't want them to learn on your nickel,
right.
So to say. And then also make sure you're in the right location. I mean, again, real estate is always, location is number one. That hasn't changed at all. You want to make sure, if you can at all times, try to be close to water or attractions that are highly desirable for people in areas that are constrained. You don't want to be in a location where you can just build out endlessly and you're just kind of in that middle of a growing area. And then also make sure you're comfortable with the budget that's being provided to you for your association dues. Make sure it makes sense, and it's not something that's unrealistic. You do have kind of a lot of condominium projects out there where they have this large hotel component associated with it. It's great. There's all these grand services and whatnot, but those services aren't free. You end up paying for those, so make sure that you can afford that, and you're well aware of what your payment structure is regarding your deposits. 20% is a significant chunk of money, but it's no longer just 20, it's 40, 60, 80%, and make sure that you have the financial wherewithal to make due on those payments.
Perfect. I think we're good to go.
Okay.